So retonication here. Sorry for the unflattering angle. I cannot find my stand. If I also sound kind of out of breath, it's just because I just got back from walking. And it's early in the morning. So I'm trying to get back on my walking schedule. The heat's not so bad in the morning right now, but that's probably going to change. It always does. So a couple of things is, update one, I saw my endocrinologist. My weight has come down. I'm still not under 200 yet. I'm at 204. But my cholesterol is getting better. I've said for like the past 10 years, if a doctor tells me that I need to start eating fish again, then I'm going to start eating fish again, for my health. And that day came. And my endocrinologist said, with your age, your cholesterol, your weight and everything, and your enzymes and such like that, wow, my brain is real mush after I'm done exercising, isn't it? Even when I was 110 pounds, I couldn't exercise. But then again, I wasn't a healthy 110 pounds. So I'm officially a pescatarian now. It's a little interesting because my love for animals doesn't stop at fish, I think it'll be beneficial for a lot of things, including mood. There's a lot of things in fish that I have trouble getting from my plant-based stuff, and my plant-based stuff is expensive and is highly processed and stuff like that. So I just don't think I'd be able to dissect my own crab, because I think crabs are cute. Some crabs are cute. Some crabs remind me too much of spiders. They're very closely related, believe it or not. But I think lobsters are cute. Shrimps are cute. So, and then I know that there's the overfishing of the ocean and stuff like that, but, I'm old now, and things just don't work the way they used to. And, but I was waiting until I got my psych test report, in the mail to make this video, and I was gonna read it, but look at how long it is. So I'm just going to go over what they did. And so first and foremost, even though I've spent years wondering and thinking that I may be on the autism spectrum, I am officially diagnosed. I am not on the autism spectrum. And I told her, I said, that leaves me with a lot of questions. And she said, well, you have crossover symptoms from your PTSD. I'm like, great. So my trauma's causing pretty much all the problems. She was like, not all the problems. And we'll get to that. So the test that they administered to me was a clinical interview. The Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scales Intelligence Scales 4th edition, Personality Assessment Inventory, Connor's Continuous Performance Test 3rd edition, Autism Diagnostic Observations Schedule 2nd edition, Structured Inventory of Malingual Symptomology, Behavior Rating Inventory of Executive Functioning, PTSD Checklist for the DSM-5, Adult ADHD Self-Report Scale, Generalized Anxiety Disorder, and the Mood Disorder Questionnaire. So, basically, the PTSD is a given. I have lots of it. It's controlling my life. It's ruined my life. And a lot of it is not old. A lot of it is new. So I do have bipolar type 2 disorder. Bipolar type 2 is characterized by more depressive symptoms than manic symptoms, though earlier in my life I had more rapid cycling than I do. But when I was off my meds, because I was like, what if the bipolar disorder diagnosis isn't good anymore? What if I just have clinical, major depressive disorder or something like that? I don't, because when I was at the mental hospital, I was off certain meds that controlled that, and I definitely felt like I was back in my old boots again, and I had some manic episodes and rapid switches. So that was an interesting feeling in not a good way. I do not have ADHD. It was early in the morning when I was doing the test, but even then I was able to I don't have any focus issues. I don't have any developmental issues. Okay. So I had adequate grooming and hygiene, which is, that makes sense for early in the morning. I was cooperative. What does WNL mean? So under cognition, they checked WNL, but I don't know what that is. Under emotions, I was anxious. No homicidal ideation. Insight was also WNL. Judgment WNL. Memory WNL. Within normal something. Mood, normal or euthymic, but also anxious. Motor activity, WNL. Orientation was in person, at the place, for reason for evaluation, on time. Perception, WNL. Speech, WNL. Suicidal ideation, she checked none, but I wasn't sitting there going, I kill myself. A lot of my ideation, when I'm not like that, is passive. But there was a lot of questions about that stuff in the actual test. Thought process, WNL. There's my cat. Oh, did she give me 2 puppies? She gave me 2 puppies. Oh, boop. So, you know how for years I've been saying that I'm slightly above average intelligence? Here it is. For all the people who call me stupid for some reason, it's weird. They call me stupid, but also call me a master manipulator. You can't have both. Duh. So, hello, Sweetie. She said that I probably would have scored higher if I was actively in school. Because when you're not in school, it's not that your brain turns to mush. It's just that, you don't use it. So, let's see. Cognitive functioning was measured using the WISE-4, the most widely utilized objective measure of various areas of intellectual ability. The full-scale IQ is derived from a combination of 10 subtest scores scaled within 4 indices. Is considered the most descriptive. Should not be interpreted as an absolute definition of her likelihood to succeed or fail intellectually. General cognitive ability is within the average range of intellectual functioning as measured by her SIQ. Her overall thinking and reasoning abilities fall above those of approximately 66% of others her age. So round 106. My verbal reasoning abilities, as measured by the FCI, are in the high average range and above those of Hello Kitty. Above those of approximately 75% of her peers. Is performance on the tests to the FCI suggests strong development of the various verbal cognitive abilities measured by these subtests. Nonverbal reasoning abilities, are as measured by the PRI, are in the high average range and above those of approximately 90% of her peers. God, I'm tired. Let me move this a little bit. It's measured to find fluid reasoning in the perception domain with tasks that assess nonverbal concept formation, visual perception, and organization. I present a very well-developed set of nonverbal abilities, performing well on nonverbal tasks. That means I may have better than expected ability in processing visual stimuli and demonstrating nonverbal reasoning skills. Ability to sustain attention, concentrate, and exert mental control is in the low average range. Like, it was really early in the morning, and they did this test that was like, I was afraid of failing, and I wanted to be perfect. You had to press the I key every time a letter popped up, and it wasn't that I was having trouble focusing, it's that I was maybe, I don't know. I don't like seeing that it's low, but she said that it's not low enough to be considered ADHD. So, performed better than approximately 18% of her peers. The working memory index. Okay, so the working memory index is designed to measure abilities in sustaining attention, concentration, and exerting mental control. Based on her performance, she demonstrated just below expected development when compared to others her age. So, that, I don't know. I don't know how much that surprises me or not. Ability in processing simple or routine visual material without making errors is in the average range when compared to peers. She performed better than approximately 34% of her peers. Processing speed is an indication of the rapidity in which she can mentally process simple or routine information without making errors. Demonstrated expected development when compared to others her age. So, I've never been a genius. Never. I've never claimed to have been a genius. Ever. I might have joked about it, like making a mistake on, like, say, Five Nights at Freddy's and going, oh, I'm such a genius. But if anybody took that seriously, like, okay. But I'm also not stupid. Am I tired? Yeah. I'm really fucking tired. So, what she said about the autism thing is that a lot of people on the spectrum rely on others to direct the conversation. I was able to direct the conversation myself. I was able to include humor and emotions. She also said something that I didn't know, that a lot of people who exhibit spectrum symptoms often think that there are rules that apply to everybody else, but not themselves. And I'm the opposite. I feel like if I'm treated a certain way, or if I'm meant to follow certain rules, then everyone else should too. You know, of course there are certain times when a rule doesn't apply to everybody, but you get the gist of what I mean. I feel like I expect equality of the world. And that includes me. I don't think that I should get away with something, you know, but I also don't think I should be punished for something and then the other person not be punished for it. And I really feel like I was treated fairly whenever, or unfairly whenever I got in trouble in school, because I was the one who was the victim and I was the one who got in trouble for it, like the time that Seth choked me, or the time that I had the stomach flu and couldn't run at PE. So, or the time that I was crying and the principal said he was going to call the police on me. The first two happened at the same school, the other one was at my high school. So, again, I don't want to go through this entire thing. So it says I demonstrate appropriate facial expressions or changes in expressions in order to communicate affective or cognitive states. Her tone varied, changing based on topics and context. She did indicate enjoyment to parts of the administration and appear clear in identifying emotions and her perception of what may impact her experience in emotions. She was responsive to most social contexts and appeared to demonstrate confidence despite social worries and challenges she may have faced in prior relationships and examples. She was not perseverative, I've never seen that word before, on topics or routines specifically in her day or functioning. With regard to restricted and repetitive behaviors, she did not demonstrate stereotyped or idiosyncratic words or factual and rigid speech. So she is a fairly rigid individual who follows her personal guidelines for conduct in an inflexible and unyielding manner. She ruminates about matters to the degree that she often has difficulty making decisions and perceiving the larger significance of decisions that are made. Changes in routine, unexpected events, and contradictory information are likely to generate untoward stress. She may fear her own impulses and doubt her ability to control them. That is like, I kind of laughed when she read that, because that is definitely me. If somebody tells me something, like at the mental hospital, they were like, oh yeah, we can see about getting you your journal. And then they're like, oh no, you can't have your journal at all. And that just, it puts a huge stop sign in the middle of my head and goes, wait, but you told me one thing, you cannot tell me another. You absolutely cannot tell me two different things. Especially when you act like the first one, oh yeah, we can get you your journal, as if that's a normal thing you tell people, and then no, we cannot get you your journal, as if that's something that you also normally tell people. And my journal wasn't this hard book. It's nice, soft, quilted cover. You could use it as a pillow if you wanted to. So, and then they give you these flimsy-ass other journals that could probably do more harm than good. And I'm sitting there going, if you're limiting my number of items because you're afraid that I'm going to hurt somebody with it. I guarantee that I can hurt people with a chair more than I can hurt somebody with the items that I am requesting. So, I wouldn't mind if they would have said right away, you can't have your journal. But they did not. And that's not just the only example either. She indicated experiencing severe fear and anxiety surrounding certain situations. Her life has become severely constricted by her psychological turmoil. Although efforts to control anxiety are present, they are having little effect on preventing anxiety from intruding into experience and affecting functioning. She exhibits maladaptive behavior patterns aimed at controlling anxiety. She monitors her environment in a vigilant fashion to avoid contact with feared situations, like my computer. In addition, and perhaps related to the above problems, she has indicated experiencing a disturbing traumatic event in the past. These events continue to distress her and produce recurrent episodes of anxiety. She reported being severely depressed, discouraged, and withdrawn. She is plagued by thoughts of worthlessness, hopelessness, and personal failure. She admitted openly to feelings of sadness, a loss of interest in normal activities, and a loss of sense and pleasure in doing things that were previously enjoyed. She described disturbance in sleep, a decreased level in energy and sexual interest, and changes in appetite and weight. Her life is severely constricted by her tension, and she may not be able to meet even minimal role expectations without feeling overwhelmed. Just reading that makes me feel overwhelmed. Relatively mild stressors may be sufficient to precipitate a major crisis. She is plagued by worry to the degree that her ability to concentrate and attend are significantly compromised. Effectively, she feels a great deal of tension, has difficulty relaxing, and experiences fatigue as a result of high perceived stress. She described a level of suspiciousness and mistrust in her relationships with others. She's hypervigilant and often questions and mistrusts the motives of those around her. She's extremely sensitive in her interactions with others and likely harbors strong feelings of resentment as a result of perceived slights and insults. She's quick to feel that she is being treated inequitably and often holds grudges against others even if the perceived affront is unintentional. She is seen by others as quite hostile. Relationships with others are likely to be very strained despite any efforts by others to demonstrate support and assistance. So I've become aware of these things over the years. And people who know me really well, like Michael, know. I was diagnosed, because of the Psych test, with something called paranoid personality disorder. And I asked her, and I said, do you think that this was caused by my time online? And she, will you quit? My cat is batting at my knee as if it's a string, but my knee is not a string. I understand I'm not paying attention to you right now, but I'm doing something that may or may not be important. I don't know. I don't know. I've always felt that it's important for people to understand me. I asked her if it was caused, because it can be caused by something and it can be treated. It's not going to go away, but it can get better. Sorry, I was looking at the paper. I asked her if it was caused by my time online, and she said she very well thinks that it is. Now, I started socializing with people online when I was 12 on AOL chat rooms, and then MySpace came along, and I got onto MySpace when I was like 14, and I really thought about it because obviously the trauma causes trust issues. So there were already trust issues. But the way paranoid personality disorder works is it is the number one rule to not trust anyone. And I tried to pinpoint when that started. And I really think it was caused by being online. Especially in the last 10 years. 10 or 15 years. Especially, and it's definitely been exacerbated by what that person did to me. I started EMDR therapy. I've only had 2 appointments so far, so we haven't gotten into the nitty-gritty of it yet. But I don't know what to work on first, the cyberbullying stuff or the being left in LA that caused me to be unable to leave the house by myself properly. Honestly, the cyberbullying stuff causes more anxiety on a daily basis. It's what keeps me up at night. It's what keeps me off of my computer. It's what keeps me from working. And if you were to read about paranoid personality disorder, it's almost like they made an entry describing me. It's always weird when I find out I have something and I go read about it and I'm like, oh my god, this is me in a nutshell. So, it's also the reason why I've been hostile to people online who most likely didn't deserve it, because I most likely took their comment in the way that I know that people take my comments. But there's a little bit of a difference. The difference is I take comments a certain way, but I also present text in a certain way when I'm commenting. And I made a post about it on my Patreon, stopping all private communication with people, because even when I tell them first and, right away, I'm like, okay, listen. So sometimes I might say something. Sometimes it's going to sound hostile or mean. I need to let you know that that's not in my intention. When I want to sound hostile or mean, I will sound hostile and mean. I don't dance around it. So I'll, cuss and yell and I will make sure the person knows I'm angry. But when I'm not, and when I'm just talking, for some reason it sounds ice cold. It's completely different from the way that I actually talk. So they take it wrong. And even when I warn them of this, they'll end up taking it wrong, and I, it hurts me because I'm like, you said you understood. And so I had to cut off communication, private communication with people. I respond to some comments, but if I can't learn how to talk to people, then I'm not going to talk to people, not through text, not if you can't hear me or hear my emotions. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because I will have the best intentions and somebody will take something, they'll say, that was mean. And I'm like, how? I don't understand. And that's one of the reasons why I thought I was on the autism spectrum. I don't know, am I trying to... I have no explanation for why I type the way I do. And yes, I know I love you so much. You're so cute. Oh, you're such a sweet. Even to my closest friends. Even my closest friends will misunderstand my intentions, and I go, that's not what I meant at all. And I'll reread and reread and reread the comment and go, how did you take it this way? I don't know. But the paranoid personality disorder has made it so that I've consistently accused partners of cheating on me without any evidence. Usually they say, oh, if they accuse you of cheating on them, then that means they're cheating on you. That's not the case with me, because my loyalty never wavers. It is absolutely unwavering. I've never had a problem with loyalty. And if I'm falling for somebody else, I break up with the first person, because obviously I don't feel the same about them. And I'm actually really glad that I broke up with some of the people that I ended up breaking up with after falling for somebody else. But the thing is there are always signs that, when somebody is cheating on you. And I forego those signs completely, and I just mistrust. And it's taken a long time for me to step back and have that conversation with myself. But I have a negative self-talk that has a mind of its own. No, I don't hear voices. It's like, but it's almost like two people are inside me. No, I don't have dissociative identity disorder. That's not what I'm getting at. But I have a negative self-talk. Your negative self-talk is the one that talks back and tells you something negative. Like if I say, oh, he's not cheating on me, negative self-talk will be like, but he might be. Really sly, really, but what if he is? You don't know that. You don't have any proof. And I'll sit there and go, and I'll talk, and I'll say the reasons why. I was like, yeah, but you don't know that. You can't trust that. You can't trust him. 15 years, you can't trust him. That's not enough. He spent 15 years putting on a mask and lying to you. You can't trust him. And it's non-stop. It doesn't stop. And that's what some of this means by it's controlling me. And I'm like a computer. Well, the brain is like a computer anyway. If you have too much in it, there's not much room for new stuff. I have downloaded so many negative coping mechanisms, some of them I didn't know were negative at the time, that I can't put in positive coping mechanisms. I have to find a way to delete the previous stuff, and unlike a computer, you can't just delete stuff from your brain. So that's where all of my mistrust comes from. And she said with treatment that it can get better. So I did create an other, and I would show you if my cat wasn't on the ottoman where my pictures are. But you can go on to my Patreon and you can see it if you're a member. You can be a free member, by the way. A lot of my stuff is free to look at. So here it's talking about my... So I was misdiagnosed with social anxiety disorder. I actually have generalized anxiety disorder, which includes social anxiety disorder. So basically, if you just have social anxiety disorder, you only have the anxiety in social situations. I have anxiety all the time. All the time. So I have the whole shebang. And that sucks because I have to rewrite, say, and shoehorn a reason why she's small because generalized anxiety others are the same size as the host. Social anxiety others are small. I started trying to write the story, but I had an aversion to my computer and I couldn't do it. So we're going to try and moonlight my computer onto the front computer here and see if that helps. But I've met the criteria for bipolar type 2 disorder, for general anxiety disorder, for post-traumatic stress disorder, and a lot of it. Oh, I'm so sorry. To fulfill diagnostic criteria for autism, she needed to exhibit pervasive problems in socialization, communication, and stereotypical behavioral domains, which in combination of observations, interviews, reviews of records, and testing during this evaluation, she did not. So again, not autistic. Just severely traumatized. And it's weird, the more I learn about trauma, the more I realize that my life has been just full of it and just so fucked up. So, my official diagnosis are bipolar type 2 disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and paranoid personality disorder. I remember many years ago somebody on Reddit was like, "You're not old enough to be a veteran. How do you have PTSD?" And I'm like, you know what? I can very hardly blame you for thinking that, because I thought the exact same thing. I thought that you had to be, that PTSD was for veterans only. It's not, and now that I know better, it sounds kind of ridiculous. So, she is trying to get me into peer support, which would be good. Hopefully I would make friends, I would socialize, I'd be able to go places. Oh my god, I just want to go places. I'm so sick of sitting on my butt. So, I feel like there was something else important that she told me. What's on this? Okay, that's just like... So, I do trust Michael pretty much more than anybody in the world. But I still have those issues of mistrust. Oh, another paranoid personality disorder trait is holding grudges. And I've always told people that I hold grudges like crowns. It's very hard for me to forgive people. And even after having a worksheet that tells you what forgiveness is and isn't. Let me see if I can go find it. Okay, so I got this from my second mental hospital stay. So I'm going to separate it into what... This is what forgiveness is. This is forgiveness. Forgiveness is letting go of resentment, anger, and hostility towards someone who treated you unfairly, even though you are justified in having these feelings. Forgiveness is recognizing the wrongdoer is human and treating them decently despite what they did. Forgiveness is a chance to amend a relationship that was damaged if you choose to do so. Forgiveness is a mental shift or a change of heart that develops over time. Forgiveness is a process that can start at any time. You can even forgive a person who is no longer in your life. Forgiveness is an opportunity to heal. Forgiveness can reduce symptoms of trauma, anger, anxiety, and depression. Additionally, it can increase hope and self-esteem. Forgiveness is a personal decision that only you can make for yourself. No one can make you forgive another person. Forgiveness is not condoning, approving of, or excusing what happened. Forgiveness is not forgetting how you were wronged or pretending like nothing happened. Forgiveness is not an agreement to continue a relationship as it was. After forgiving someone, you can choose to resume, modify, or end the relationship. Forgiveness is not simply saying, I forgive you without meaning it. In fact, you can forgive without ever even saying so. Forgiveness is not something you do for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is not getting even or getting revenge. Getting even might feel good in the moment, but unlike forgiveness, it does not resolve anger or resentment. See, the thing is like, I can fantasize about getting revenge on somebody, like the person who did this all to me, but I've never actually gotten revenge on anybody. I am too afraid of trouble. I'm afraid of getting in trouble, ruining my life. But it seems like doing nothing ruins my life too, so forgiveness is not something that can be forced. Just because you want to forgive doesn't mean that forgiveness has been achieved. So I cannot forgive a lot of people. I might be able to forgive my mom because of the fact that I found out that her diagnosis wasn't schizophrenia. And it was, so my mom is a big pill to swallow. She has antisocial personality disorder, which means she cannot feel empathy. She can't. It's impossible. She's a literal psychopath. She has borderline personality disorder, which one of my friends has that too, but in the combination of the two is completely different. And then on top of it, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and sexual addiction or whatever. So I always thought that the way she treated me was my fault. But because now that I understand that she couldn't love a child, I realized that it wasn't my fault. I still hate her, but she's moved down on the people I hate list. Somebody else has moved up. Somebody who... The malicious part of me wants to say that they deserve death. But the realistic part of me just says they deserve the removal of everything that causes the problems that made them do this. Which isn't possible. So obviously there's still that person in there that wants revenge, that wants this person to hurt the way that I did. But then there's the empathetic part of me, the part of me that goes, well, maybe if they had, the ability, that's the thing is I don't know their diagnosis. And I don't know why it's easier to forgive my mom than it is to forgive them. Maybe it's because I saw everything that my mom did. I saw it, and it all has a reason. But what who did to me, it all felt like a choice. Especially since I gave them a choice. Since before everything escalated, I said, can we talk about this? And I calmed down, and I wanted to talk about it. And they were like, Nope. Because do you know who I am? I am blank fucking blank, and I make videos ruining people's lives. Like a fucking teenager. Grown-ass adult, by the way. And yet, I keep telling people, don't do to me what I wouldn't do to you. And this person has tried to kill me twice. And that's just directly. The fact that they accused me of being a predator and didn't mind that I got doxxed means they want me dead. They know damn well that vigilantism is a thing. And that people, if they believe something enough, will go crazy, and they will go and they will find you and they will kill you because they think they're doing a good thing. I don't remember the last time I spoke to a child. But even speaking to a child is not a problem. I mean, of course it's what you say to a child, but thanks to my bad childhood, I know what you shouldn't say. And also thanks to mistakes that I have made about talking to children about ghosts, I know now that just because a child stays silent doesn't mean they're not terrified. I was a young adult, very young. No, I wasn't an adult yet. I was 19. I was still a kid. And I was talking with these kids because it was some kind of family reunion. We were downstairs in the basement because in Spokane, basements are used for bedrooms. And it was when I was visiting my dad in 2009. And I was talking to them, and there was this one girl who looked like Esther from Orphan. And she's like, I get it. I get that all the time. She had the collar and everything. She was so cute. And she's like, I get it all the time. And it made us start talking about ghosts. And one of the younger boys didn't say that he didn't want to talk about it. He stayed silent and then went upstairs crying about how we were talking about ghosts. I had no idea that he was uncomfortable with the conversation, and I also didn't have the emotional maturity to understand that a child isn't going to tell you how they feel. I didn't understand that, and it took a long time for me to understand that because I don't have access to kids. I babysat sometimes, but sometimes it takes these kind of mistakes to learn what you should and shouldn't talk to children about, even if you think that it's a child-friendly topic. You know, nowadays, honestly, I kind of want to babysit that, but not too young because I'm grossed out by diapers, and not so old that they don't want to play with toys. Because I want to sit down with a kid and I want to play with their toys with them and I want to make stories. And I want to play, if it's a little girl, I want to play with their little dolls, with their little princess dolls and dress them up and stuff. And I'd like to think that even with my fear of socializing, that maybe I could be able to lose myself in some kind of fantasy. Because I do have the same problem talking to kids as I do adults. They're a person, therefore social anxiety kicks in. Now, I am going to refer to social anxiety as the part of my general anxiety that gets triggered when I'm talking to somebody. It's the same thing, it's the same reason why it keeps me from going up to a homeless person and goes, who's standing by the grocery store, and I go, I'd like to go up to them and go, can I buy you something to eat? But I can't because I'm scared. It's the same thing that keeps me from riding the bus by myself. I've done it once, and it's the same thing that keeps me, whenever somebody passes me, if I'm on my morning walk and somebody passes me, I'm thinking, oh my God, they have a knife, they're going to stab me. It's very extreme. And it is also the cause of me over-talking and oversharing, and talking very fast. My therapist notes that sometimes I talk really fast and I forget to breathe. And it's just, I just have a lot of anxiety, and it doesn't matter what age somebody is. And people seem to think that I'm like this overly sexual person, and I'm not. I don't own a single thing of lingerie, and that's not just because I'm fat. Actually, that's not stopping me. I haven't been sexual. I know this is a lot. This is very personal. I haven't been sexual for 5 years. And even before then, it was very, very, very minimal. It's like, just because I write certain fan fictions doesn't mean that that's my life. I will put certain personal experiences into those fan fictions, but I'm also not out of control when it comes to a sexual thing. I can watch a woman walk by in lingerie. Like, say if you go to Pride or something, I can watch a woman walk by in lingerie, and I know it's so hard to believe I'm not going to go and grope her. It's so stupid. I actually don't understand why it's so difficult for certain people, specifically men, to keep their, I'm not saying all men are like this, because I know men, and I know a lot of men who keep their hands to themselves without even thinking about it. It's not a man thing, it's a human thing, but statistically it's usually males who do it, who just can't help themselves. Statistically, I think it's, if I'm wrong here, I'm wrong, but statistically, I think it's straight males who have the highest rate of being unable to keep their hands to themselves. Oh, I just couldn't help it. You're just so pretty. I can't understand that. So I think who is trying to paint me as some, like, sexual deviant when I'm not, and I never have been. If I was, it's like, yes, I was manipulated into losing my virginity at an early age. To one person. I didn't have multiple people. If I was out of control, I would have a cheating problem just like my mother. But I must take after my dad. So, or I just saw what my mom did so much and was like, yeah, no, that doesn't sound like a safe lifestyle. Considering the fact that she's been stabbed with ice picks and forks and other stuff thrown at her, and I've seen more adult penises than I wanted to see when I was a kid, and my life isn't sexual at all. I've said multiple times that I believe that sex is sacred, and I stand by it. I think that sex is only, when they say forced sex, that's not a thing. It's the R word. The R word and sex are two different things. Sex is consensual. It's not supposed to hurt, unless you're into that and you want it to hurt. It's consensual. So I separate these two things. And sexual abuse is in with the R. I have never been okay with any of that stuff. And if you really, really, really want the god-awful truth, I wrote it on my Patreon after my suicide attempt. So, and if this, because what's stopping this person from letting me talk to their informant and find out that if it really is him, because you don't even know his name. You know nothing about this relationship except for what I've said. And, I told my therapist about the age difference too. She didn't blink an eye. She's a year younger than me. People in high school date people in high school. Yeah. I know. Shocker. We're the same age group. I date within my age group. Well, I don't date anymore because I'm married. So, I've been with the same person for 15 years. And that has never bugged me. Am I, sexually repressed? Yes, I am. But that's something that I have to deal with. And that's something that Michael and I have to deal with together. And, that's not something that's going to make me stray. That's not something that's going to make him stray. But I can say definitively that I have never touched anybody without their consent. I have never manipulated anybody on purpose. I'm going to say on purpose because there's, I don't know. There's other factors that I'm going to say I've never manipulated somebody sexually. There. Because there are some things that people with depression do without knowing it. Like if they're told something and they go, oh, okay. That is an unknowing manipulation tactic. So, and then there's my bad habit of mixing up words and just a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of factors. It's not black and white. The point is this person did a lot of damage to me. This person exacerbated a lot of the PTSD and a lot of the paranoid personality disorder. And this person, I feel, actually needs to go to jail. But I haven't asked the police about this second one. But that's why things have changed so much. That's why this video isn't going to be public for a couple weeks. So, yeah. I am on a new medication. I think it is working. It doesn't stop the depression, but it evens me out a little bit. I'm just tired all the time, and my body hurts all the time. And I'm just I have these passive thoughts where it's when a dog is in pain, chronic pain, and nothing works for them, and they're just suffering, it's okay to put them down. Why isn't it not okay to put down a human? I don't know. So, yep. I hope I didn't forget to say anything. Anyway, I think I should probably go eat. So, yeah. I don't know. Okay. See you later.